Okay, well, we can go ahead and get started. We're a minute or so past the hour. Um, so today we are here to discuss the ROMA certification process. My name's Lawrence Heiner. I'm the Director of Training and Technical Assistance at Cal Kappa. If you're looking for that, you're in the right place. Today with me, I have a panel of folks that are here to discuss what's current and what's coming to ROMA certifications. I also have with me our executive director here at Cal Kappa, David Knight. Would probably like to say a couple of words, David.
Yeah, thanks, Lawrence. I just want to take a minute to say, we're really excited about this opportunity. Barbara from Ansert and Heidi and Sandra and the whole CSD team have worked really diligently with Lawrence to help bring all this together. So I just wanted to take a minute and say, thank you for this opportunity. Thanks for making this happen. This is a really, just to me, almost a once in my whole community action lifetime chance to really get into the ROMA process and really start your ROMA journey. And this is a great way for us to both be able to meet and understand and increase our knowledge, and at the same time have something that can really benefit us going to the future. So thanks for all you guys' work. Thanks for putting all this together and making it happen. So thanks for letting me say something, Lawrence. It's good to see everybody's face.
You bet. Thanks, David. Partway through my presentation here, Haida Haida, you're gonna have to help me with your last name, but Rugsager, did I say that?
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Haida is the hard part, right? That's the one that folks get wrong. So Haida's gonna come on and talk to us a little bit about some of the details, but I'll get us underway here. We also have Barbara Mooney here with us today, and Barbara's representing Ansert, the ROMA folks, right? So she'll not have as formal a presentation, but is here to answer questions along the way as we go, and particularly in the current certification opportunities, if you have questions around that. Okay. For the sake of our call and our recording today, if you'd like to ask questions, please post them in the chat. And we'll answer them as we go, and we'll have some Q&A opportunity as the call moves on. So focus of today's call, we're going to take a look at the existing certification tiers for ROMA. We know that they're out there. We want to see what's available to us today. Then CSD is going to take us through why it is that we have a new option for ROMA, being a ROMA professional, put it that way, and what that process is shaping up to look like. I will share with you ahead of the call here that there are some details that we have not confirmed. You're welcome to ask, but if we say that we haven't gotten to it yet, just know that some of the cost and location details for this new product are still in negotiation, but will be announced soon. Okay. And then we'll wrap up with as much as we do know and what you can do to start preparing to participate in the new certification status, if that's what you'd like to do. Okay, so let's take a look at what is currently available for ROMA certification. ROMA started out with certification for ROMA trainers, and that ROMA trainer classification is still available. The focus for ROMA trainers and the reason to go after that certification is if you are in a position to train the introduction to ROMA and other sorts of training related activities around ROMA for your agency and other agencies in the Community Action Network. Second to that is the Nationally Certified ROMA Implementer, which came on board to be a more functional ROMA participant within the organization to deeply understand what's happening with ROMA, how it relates to the performance of the agency, and how the agency integrates ROMA across all of its programming, right? And we'll circle back to NCRI as we move through this, because the new offer is very closely related to NCRI, the implementer. And then the advocate, NCRA, The advocate is for those who have been trainers or implementers and may not be in the capacity to perform that for their agency or their organization any longer, but still want to maintain a ROMA certification and to advocate for the use of ROMA in agencies across the network. I'll pause here. Barbara, is there anything else that you'd like to say about the current certification tiers as they are today?
No, that was very clear. Very good.
Great. Well, thank you. Now I feel like I'm part of certification
That's
again.
good. Good. Very good.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So that's where we are today. And Haida, if you'd like to share your presentation here at this time, we'll learn what the California ROMA representative is all about.
Thank you, Lawrence. So the California ROMA representative, in a nutshell, this is yet another way that an individual can be ROMA trained. And in this short presentation, I will not only cover the background and the rationale of this training, but also provide information about how it is structured and offer you a few things to consider if you are in the process of deciding which path to take in your professional development. So background rationale, it all started in pretty much December 2022 when CSD announced that the ROMA requirement for the CAP is going to change. And that is originally, the agencies had the option of, if you didn't have a ROMA professional on staff, you could submit your CAPs to CSD and the CSD staff member would review your CAP and sign off on that important requirement for the CAP. But on the 2024-2025 CAP, we had the requirement here, I've put on the screen, that we are changing it. We're requiring CSBG service providers to provide their own ROMA certification, either by staff who have the required ROMA training or in partnership with another agency or organization. And that's effective coming up on the 2026-2027 CAP. And so after, that's how it's changing. And then since December 2022, we received input from the California network, your peers, in some of their concerns about meeting this requirement. CSD has also discussed options with OCS, our federal funder, with NASCASP, our National Association of State Lead Agencies in Community Action, and ANSERT is our national ROMA partner here, represented by Barbara Mooney. Today on the call, we've also talked to CalCAPA, and we've also talked to other national partners and which means other state agencies or other state associations throughout the network. And together we have come up with this, which is called the California ROMA Representative. It has 4 parts, 4 phases. As you can see here on the screen, the first phase is an intro to ROMA. It's a virtual component that goes about 6 hours over the course of 2 days, 3 hours each day. It is basically kind of ROMA 101, if you want to think of it that way, where a candidate is going to cover all of the basic principles and ideas about ROMA, the theories about ROMA. And then we launch into phase 2 and phase 3. As you can see, we have a portfolio in this in the ROMA representative training model. And phase 2 will cover as a virtual presentation for an hour that will cover the overview of the portfolio, introduce it, because this is where a candidate actually gets to apply what they've learned in the intro to ROMA. And then what's different with the California ROMA representative process is that we do have this in-person component, which is the largest component of this training model, and where the candidates will come to Sacramento in person and go through not only the whole portfolio, where it will be candidates will go through it, and it will also be reviewed during that 18 hours, and then we'll have a post-assessment, post-training assessment for the 4th phase. The commitment is a 27-hour commitment. And we believe that after 3.5 days, we'll be able to complete, a candidate will be able to complete their ROMA representative training. Some considerations. In this process, we really want to point out that this is a California-specific training. What that means on the upside is that the portfolio is designed specifically for the CSBG network. We've been able to pare it down or direct it to and utilize the documents that we know that you have in terms of your CAP template and so forth. So it's very specific to California network. That's the upside. The downside is it's only valid in California. So if you're planning any moving out of the state, keep in mind that this certificate will not likely be valid in another state. It's just California specific. And then there's a difference between certificate and certificated. So the California ROMA representative is a certificate, and as Lawrence pointed out, with the other 3 tiers of training, those are certificated trainings. If you want to think about sort of the model of higher education, you can think of a certificate as being maybe like 20 units of higher education, and an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree and a master's degree is all above that. And those are the higher trainings in ROMA. So said another way, the advocate, the implementer, and the trainer are all certificated, and they are the higher tiers of ROMA training. So said another way, just to emphasize this point, what we're offering here, what we've put together here, is not an implementer by any other name. It's also not an advocate by any other name or a trainer. It is a separate type of training. However, this training does meet the requirements of Organizational Standard 4.3 and the CSBG Act. If you the Organizational Standard 4.3 is the reason why we need ROMA people to sign off on the CAP and to be involved in the strategic planning process of your agencies. That's the guiding authority on why we do that. And also the CSBG Act requires that state lead agencies, i.e. CSD, as well as the network, our networks, that we have some sort of performance measurement system in place, which we do. So the California ROMA representative does meet the requirements for Organizational Standard 4.3 and the CSBG Act. All right, so are there any questions I can answer from the group about?
Haida, we do have a question.
Yes.
It's from Charlene. And hi, Charlene. If someone took this training and received the certificate, is any credit given if the person decided to move on to become a certified ROMA implementer, or would they have to start from scratch?
Fantastic question. Do you want me to take that one?
Please, Barbara.
Yes, absolutely. You'll absolutely be given credit for all that you've done. What you'll have to do, you won't have to do any of the pre-training. You'll start with the portfolio, and you'll just be translating what you've done already in your portfolio to some wider application of the ROMA principles and practices. So it would be a much abbreviated version of the implementer training. You would already be 3/4 of the way there with this process.
Anything else? Thank you, Barbara.
Another question from Honey Tuvel. How many days of the ROMA representative training would be in Sacramento?
2.5. Let's go back to that slide. So phases 3 and 4 will be done in Sacramento. We're planning that's about 2.5 days in person. Anything else? Sandra, anything coming in the chat?
Nothing coming in.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Lawrence?
All right. Thank you, Haida. Okay, and that dovetails very nicely into the wrap up of our conversation here today. So as a refresh, what we're looking at here for participation in this ROMA representative certificate cohort, it's going to be a simple process for participation. Okay, so the first thing in this registration process will be to select a phase 1 introduction to ROMA training option. Our anticipation is to have some virtual opportunities to get this phase 1 training ahead of the on-site training in Sacramento. And we look forward to presenting some dates to you when we release the registration announcement. After selecting that training option, you'll pay the training fee. Again, that will be announced soon, but not today, I'm afraid. But you'll pay that training fee to CalCAPA. We will channel all of the dollars to where they need to go. Okay, so you'll pay one fee to CalCAPA, then plan to attend phase 2 virtually. That was the 1-hour virtual piece that Haida just went over. And then phases 3 through 4, you'll do all at the same time in Sacramento. All right, and that will be hopefully in October 2024. Okay, that's the target zone. We'll have exact dates. Hopefully it will be then and won't be too much after that. But that's our current target. We're looking at October this year. When everything is said and done and you have completed all 4 phases, certificates will be issued by ANCERT and held on file with ANCERT. So you'll, just like all of the ROMA certificated options, your certificate will also be held at ANCERT. Okay, very official, right? So that's what we have to look forward to. If you have any questions about that process, happy to answer that now. And Pritika, yes, we will be sending out the PowerPoint and the recording here today. All right, very good. And you all be happy to know that for those that know PJ, it's very likely that PJ will be participating in this process as well. PJ Davis, our local California ROMA trainer.
There will be an annual recertification, the same as for all the other ROMA professionals. It'll be a shortened version of the recertification process, but it'll include updating your contact information, which is the most important part about the process, and then just telling us what you've been doing so that we have an understanding of how ROMA professionals are being used by the network and helping the network achieve better performance management measures.
Barbara, thank you for answering Laura's question in the chat there. Okay, any other questions about the process here?
I have one that I've heard, and that's, what if I just did an introduction to ROMA training last week, which we have several trainings going on in California, and that would suffice for the part 1 of this process. So if you're already engaged in an intro to ROMA training, that will count.
Hey, Barbara, on that note, if I've taken Introduction to ROMA in the past, how far back will that go?
I'd say a year, and then what we would have as an option is we have an e-course version that could be done rather than attending the in-person or the virtual 6-hour training. Someone could leaf through the e-course as a way to refresh their understanding of ROMA principles and practices, so they're ready for the portfolio.
All right. And for everybody, we'll have very specific guidance on that in the registration process, looking at your existing Introduction to Roma training
Experience.
status or options to take it. All right. Thank you, Barbara. Okay. All right. So here are your contacts for this adventure. All right. I'm your primary contact. If all else fails, email me. For very specific guidance, and again, this list will go out with this recording in the presentation document. But we've got help from additional help in Cal Kappa for hotel-related issues. Barbara Mooney here and her colleague Carrie Gibson are both involved in the ROMA certification process. You heard me utter PJ. When we can confirm her, we'll give you her contact info as well. And then CSD is your source for everything specific to the ROMA rep status, right? So what is incorporated in that, what led up to that, and how it relates to your community action planning process. Okay, very good. All right. As mentioned, this will come out with the recording. We would love your feedback today, as a matter of fact, on how we're doing as a training and technical assistance organization. So if you want to scan that barcode or in the chat here. Everyone in the chat here is the meeting link. Or not the meeting link, excuse me, the feedback link. Are there eligibility requirements to become a rep? Eligibility requirements, what do we think?
So I'll start, but I think CSD might have some other things to say. But we have there's a list of things that we would like to see is that you have a position in your agency that has to do with the elements of the ROMA cycle, such as the community needs assessment, strategic planning, or the reporting of the CSBG annual report information. So first of all would be your role in your agency. And then some idea about commitment to being a part of the ROMA Alliance that you all have in California, to provide support for your peers, to be engaged in some other ways. And CSD is working on a detailed list of that information that will go out to the executive directors to say, here are how you might identify your staff that could be a good fit with this process. Heidi or someone else, see a Stephanie.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we are, so as far as the eligibility requirements are, when the information comes out, we will make sure that that's clear. We do understand the diversity that is in the network. And so at this point, you are all open. And I hope, can we hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, wonderful. Yes, and so this will be an open entry platform. So any member of your network or organization will be able to participate in this California ROMA representative training. There will be some initial questions, as Barbara indicated, that we would like to know, and that's going to really help us to determine at what starting point of information that you have, and to kind of help us build out a better and a more efficient model. But as it stands, that this training platform is open to all. As you participate in the intro to ROMA training, that's really going to be that foundational piece that is going to help you become more set for the rest of the work that is going to be coming forward. And so if you're new to community action, let's say if you are a new employee, you're coming in into this platform, really participating in that intro to ROMA training that is going to happen as a part of phase 1 to become very familiarized with that. Those basic tenets will really set you up for the remaining of the training that's going to be coming forth in the other two components. And so yeah, that those are really going to be the basic requirements there. If you have any additional background, it will probably, I think that you will be able to move through the training model maybe more efficiently. However, the intro to ROMA training model really will get you geared up for the work that's going to happen in the portfolio, and then also the work that we will be doing in person for the other two components. Any other questions on eligibility, or if there was anything else in the chat?
There's one more from Jackie. The registration portal for the intro to ROMA. So just to be clear, there will be a registration portal that CalCapitol will open, but it will not just be for the intro to ROMA. It will be for the representative process. So it wouldn't be separate just for the intro to ROMA training, but that would be included in the process of registration. And that won't be open until after the beginning of August, when we have our details all together.
Correct.
So like mid-August, maybe, I think, based on, but I should be not talking.
Yeah, we'll get the registration portal open as close as we can to the announcement. So we do not want to delay this process any longer than it needs to be. I will say this too, part of the reason it's kind of going up to the wire is we're trying to reduce the cost of this overall per participant by as much as humanly possible. So bear with us, know that the delay is in all of our favor, we hope. Any other questions about this process? What's coming here? All right. One more question. Ballpark on what the cost might be. It'll be under $5,000 a head. Guaranteed. So sorry. I hate to hazard a guess because
I wouldn't.
we don't want you to set your budgets that way. Just know that we're trying to keep it as low as possible.
You said under 5,000. I just saw David's face. So I had to laugh. I had to just come off mute and just say that.
Try to be safe, huh? Yeah. Sorry. Okay. We'll look forward to some announcements from us. I do want to thank all of the participants here, the speakers today. Barbara, thank you for joining us from ANSERT. CSD, as always, thank you for being here and providing that presentation on the details of the California ROMA Rep. This recording will go out, so if you need to forward it to folks to learn more about this process, please do. And we'll be in touch with more details as soon as we can. Stay tuned. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you all.